Hello everyone, I'm back and I brought some books. It is I, Becca from In a Bookshelf, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. And may I say, happy summer. I know I've been gone for like a month, but I'm back, and today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I've read so far this year. It's been like 6 months now, which is really freaking weird. How we already halfway through 2021. So on Goodreads, my reading challenge was to read 60 books this year, and I've only read 24, which is just like 9 books behind. Thank you for reminding me, Goodreads. Thank you so much. So far this year, I just have not read a lot of books. Usually in the summertime, I really don't read a lot of books, but I feel like this summer I've read a lot of books. And then like at the beginning part of 2021, I was going through my senior year of college, so like I didn't read as much as I probably could have and should have. First question, what is the best book you've read so far this year? Considering I didn't read that many books so far this year, this one was very easy to tell. And that was A Quart of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. I actually just posted my review for this book, so if you want to hear more about my thoughts, you know, link in the description box below. I just think this book was just written so spectacularly. I loved being back in this world with all these characters and with Rhysand and Feyre and of course Nesta and Cassian, but like, you know, I love Rhysand and Feyre. I loved seeing Nesta's point of view because in the past like few books in the Court of Thorns and Roses series, I just like really did not like Nesta. She's just a very mean character. But in this book you learn to like understand her. There's much more depth to her character than we think in the past first 3 books in the series. And I also love that this is a standalone book and that it's just one book for one couple. It's not being dragged on, and that we're getting more books with these couples. I seriously believe that authors and writers just become better and better at writing and writing stories every single time they just continue to practice and practice. And Sarah J. Maas, you can see the difference from Throne of Glass and A Quart of Silver Flames, that her writing has just gotten even more beautiful. She's just so good at plots and putting little Easter eggs and then like coming around and like it comes through. It's just, I just love her writing so much, and I really love her characters. And I'm so excited about the next couple. I think it's Azriel, and everyone's having a little bit of a disagreement about this, but who do you guys think Azriel will end up with, or who is going to be his like love interest? It's between Elaine and Gwen. Do you want to know who I ship with him? It's Gwen. I mean, it's obviously going to be Gwen. Fight me on it. Fight me on it in the comments, like, but in a nice way. Like, don't like me mean. Let's talk about this. Next up, the best sequel that you've read so far. I have not read a lot of sequels, but I don't know if Lola and the Boy Next Door counts. I reread a lot of books this year, like a lot, especially this summer and at the end of my senior year when I was just like dying from all these finals and I just like really wanted some happiness. And so I picked up, you know, Anna and the French Kiss, and I reread that, and then I read Lola and the Boy Next Door. I believe I picked up both of those books back in 2014 when everyone was reading them and everyone was obsessed with them. I remember skimming through Anna and the French Kiss and also Lola and the Boy Next Door, which I shouldn't have done. After reading it fully this time, I really loved this book. I loved the character. I loved Lola. I loved her parents. They were awesome. And I loved Cricket. He was a sweet soul. And I loved their dynamic and their friendship. It was just a beautiful, little cute little book, and I'm so glad that I reread it. New release that you haven't read but want to. Yes, I know. Some of you guys have been wondering, like, Becca, have you read Chain of Iron? No. I want to. I'm not trying to not read it. It's like I'm not going out of my way to like not read it because I don't want to read it. Like, I want to read it, but I just haven't read it. Like I said, I started reading this book, and this book came out like the worst time. Didn't it come out in like February or something? Like the worst time, because it was like the last semester again of my senior year, and I barely read A Quart of Silver Flames and got a book review ready, and I just had no time. But now it's summertime and I have a break, and so I really want to get in the swing of things and read this. But yesterday on Twitter, Cassandra Clare said that the next book in this trilogy, which is the last book, comes out in November of 2022, which is like a full, like over a year from now. So when I do read this book, I'm hoping to do a book review on it because I love discussing especially Cassandra Clare books with you guys. I've seen a lot of fan art with my two favorite characters, Cordelia and James Herondale. I need to understand the fan art that's been going around. Beautiful fan art. Also, there's another book, The Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the third book in the From Blood and Ash series, which I love this series. I adore Jennifer L. Armentrout. This one is just spot on. One of my favorites that she has ever published. I am so excited to read this and talk to you guys about this because you guys are so awesome, because like every single time I post like a video with like one of these books, you guys have so many awesome theories about what's gonna happen in like the next book. One thing that Jennifer is doing that's like so cool, she's doing like another series that's based in the same world, but it's kind of reminds me of Infernal Devices and Mortal Instruments, how they connected. Both of them are being published at the same kind of time, but like they had different timelines, but they all connected, and that's kind of how like her next series is gonna be. And the next book to come out in this like world is the book that takes place in the past, but it all connects. And that book is called like A Shadow and Ember, I believe, and it comes out in October. So I'm super excited to read that. But like before I read that, I need to read this. Most anticipated release for the rest of the year. There's so many books. I can't even think of all of them. When I was trying to like come up with answers for this video, like I was trying to think of all of them, but like the only ones I could think about was A Shadow and Ember, again by Jennifer L. Armentrout, but then also Death by Laura Thalassa. This is the last book in her apocalyptic Four Horsemen series. Look at that cover. Look at that cover. Speaks for itself, doesn't it? I'm excited to see how Laura is going to wrap this series up, and I'm very excited to meet Death. Not like, you know, like fictionally. I'm excited to meet him, not like in real life. Like I don't want to meet like Death, you know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna stop talking. Next up is the biggest disappointment so far this year. This is like the worst question, but I think nothing is like the worst. Like I hate saying the worst book so far this year because like I just feel like certain books people love and certain books that people don't love, so I don't want to say the worst book. But so far this book did disappoint me. The Benson Brothers by Abby Glines. And here's the reason why it disappointed me. When I was like 15, me and my friends would read a lot of Abby Glines books. I think we just really loved like the romance in it, and it's a very quick read. This summer I really wanted to get into some like romance, like contemporary books, because obviously it's summer. That's the kind of books I like to read in summer, and I hadn't read Abby Glines books in a really, really long time. So I found myself like rereading a lot of the books that I used to read when I was 15, and this was one of them. I was just so disappointed in the character of the main love interest, the guy. Like the guys in these books are kind of demeaning to women, the way they talk about women, and the way this main character was so obsessed with his ex-girlfriend, but then like with this other girl, he was trying to date this other girl, and he just kept comparing the girls together. And then finally at the end of the book, I don't want to give it away if you want to read it, but I just really didn't enjoy this guy character that much. I think I loved him more when I was 15 than I do now as a 20-year-old adult, mature woman. You know, I'm mature. But that's okay. I mean, I really enjoyed like the drama. I mean, Abby Glines is so good at writing drama. Sometimes you just need a dramatic book. This one was definitely the one for me. Of course, I had problems with it, but I still enjoyed reading the book, if that makes sense. Like, I still enjoyed like the story overall. It just, you know, there was a lot of stuff that I just had a problem with. Next up, the biggest surprise so far this year, and I'm gonna go with Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins, because back in 2014 when everyone was loving this book, like I said, I skimmed read it. After I reread it and like fully like immersed myself in the story, I actually super enjoyed this book so much. I really loved the main character, and obviously I just love the setting of Paris as well. It really got my mind off of all the finals and all the final papers that I had to write. Senior year is very stressful, guys. I also loved Etienne, I think that's how you say his name, the main love interest. And I also loved that that Lola and the Boy Next Door, you see Anna and Etienne in those books too. Like the stories kind of connect, but like not like too much to where like it takes away from the story and or like you have to read one book before the other one. I mean, it's best if you read them in order, but like you don't have to. But yeah, I was like actually super surprised because I thought I wasn't really gonna enjoy it, because when I first read it I enjoyed it, but like not like as much as everybody else was. But I actually enjoyed it probably just as much as everybody else was back in 2014. Oh, 2014. Sometimes I feel very nostalgic for that book era. I mean, so many amazing books were becoming movies. There were so many awesome books coming out at that time. Gosh, does anybody ever miss 2013, 2014? That was like fun years. Favorite new author. For this one, I'm gonna have to go with Maureen Gu. I read 2 of her books this summer. I got them from the library, which I've been going to the library more and more this summer. I love going to the library. The setting is just so awesome. Just being surrounded by so many books, and then like you don't have to buy a book. Like you just, obviously you guys know, I don't know why I'm explaining to you what a library is, but since being at like college and stuff, like I usually just read on my Kindle or something, but you know, since being home, like I've been going to my local library like more and more, and I've just been enjoying checking out books. And this was an author that I have never read before, and I was pleasantly surprised, and she's definitely one of my new favorite authors. I read The Way You Make Me Feel. That was the first book, and I think my favorite so far that I've read. I loved the main character. She was so funny. And then I also read right after that, I believe, in a thing called Love. I think The Way You Make Me Feel is becoming a movie. And then another one of her books that I haven't read is this one. I haven't read that one yet, but that one is also becoming, I think, a movie or show. I think a movie, which is so awesome. I literally just finished reading some of her books and now they're becoming movies, and I just love that so much. There's so many books becoming movies this year. I'm excited for it. Speaking on that note, my newest fictional crush is definitely Hamlet from The Way You Make Me Feel. This character, guys, he was precious. Any scene that he was in, I was just happy and over the moon. He was like the most precious character ever. He's just so infatuated with Clara, which is like the main character, and he was just so sweet. Like when he asked her out, like this isn't I mean, I guess this is kind of a spoiler, but like not really. He asked her out with flowers and he was so nervous. Like it was so cute. Newest favorite character. If I can't say Hamlet again because like obviously loved him, then I'll have to say Clara, which is, you know, the main character in that book. She is so funny and she's just like such herself. It's really nice sometimes to have a character that just make you laugh out loud when you're reading. Next, a book that made you cry. So far this year, I've not read a book that has made me cry, which is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. I don't really read a lot of books that make me cry a lot. If a book can make me cry, then the author is doing a really good job. But so far this year, that has not happened, but maybe by the end of this year, it will. Name a book that made you so happy. There's been so many books, especially this summer, because I've been reading a lot of contemporaries that have made me so happy. Contemporaries just make me so happy because they're just happy books. I reread Along for the Ride by Sarah Dessen this summer, and it was so awesome. I just loved it. This book is also becoming a movie on Netflix, and then I think another one of her books is also becoming a movie. I think there's 3 books. I've heard that they're going to try to make movies, but this is the first one. I think they just finished filming it. So excited to see what they do and how they bring this story to life. This book is about a girl named Auden. Her parents had this really messy divorce, but her father's remarried, has this new baby. She goes to this beach town for the summer to spend some time with him and kind of just, you know, get away for the summer. She's a night owl. She stays up all night, and she meets this other character, and his name is Eli. And Eli also has a problem of staying up all night. I just really love Sarah Dessen books. I can't describe how much I love her books. I love her character development, her family dynamics, her friendships, her setting. Her setting is, especially this book, this is a perfect book to read in the summertime. It takes place in a beach town. It takes place in the summer. It's just a perfect book to read this season. Every single time I end a Sarah Dessen book, I feel like I've gone on a journey and I've learned something so valuable. There's no words for how she writes her contemporary novels. This one was so amazing and I just really loved it. It made me very happy to be back in this book because I reread it. Like this will be the 3rd time. Most beautiful book that you've read so far this year. Well, first off, I just want to say that I wish I had gotten like the Fairy Loot edition or the Bookish Box edition of The Crown of Gilded Bones because it was beautiful. Picture, insert picture here, insert picture here. Beautiful. I wish I had gotten, I mean this cover is beautiful too, but like those covers were awesome. I wish I had gotten those, but I would have to say Chain of Iron. Like Cassandra Clare, she never misses with her covers. They're just so beautiful. Speaking on that note, what books do you have to read by the end of this year? This one. I cannot be out of the loop for too long. Also, I really want to read These Violent Delights. It is like kind of like a Romeo and Juliet retelling, but I think it takes place in the 1920s or the 1930s. 1926 in Shanghai. I just heard so many wonderful things about this book, and the sequel comes out, I think, in November, which I'm really excited to read that. I think it's really exciting because this author, she's very young. I think she just graduated college and this is her debut book, and I've heard nothing but great things, so it's so exciting and I can't wait to read it. This is also a very beautiful cover. Do you see that? Do you see that? You see how it glints in the sunlight? Well, my ring light. Also, another one of my reading goals by the end of this year, I really want to have caught up on all of the Rick Riordan books, like Trials of Apollo and Magnus Chase. Me and my brother, we went to Half Price Books yesterday. We went through like the children's section, you know, and we were like pointing out all these books that we read like in middle school that like really shaped us and like our lives, and the books that we remembered, the books that we loved. I saw all of the Rick Riordan books. It brought me so many like nostalgia, like feelings, because I love the way he writes. I love his worlds. I love Percy Jackson. It's just like, I read those books when I was like 12, 11 years old. Those are the books that got me to become the reader that I am today. If it wasn't for those books, I probably would still hate reading like I did back when I was in the 6th grade. But I've been meaning to catch up on all of his like new series, but I just haven't. And I just feel so bad about it, and I just want to be back in that world again with those characters, with his new characters, because he's created like 2 new series, and I think he has a new series coming out too. So that is a big reading goal of mine. So that is an overview of the books that I've read so far this year. I would love to hear all about the books that you guys have read so far this year. Don't give me any spoilers about Chain of Iron, please. Please. I just know I'm missing out. Like, I know, okay? I need to read it. What is a book that you want to read by the end of this year? And also, what is a book that you've been hearing so much about that you're just like dying to read? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!